Join us as we take a look at some of the top deadliest attack submarines. The Oscar II class is the successor to Russia's previous Oscar I class submarine, which was designed to counter the threat posed by the US carrier battle groups. The Oscar II class is 32 feet longer than its predecessor, which was likely done for quieter propulsion and upgraded electronic systems. It has an enlarged fin which improves underwater maneuverability. They are the third largest submarine in the world in terms of displacement and length behind the Soviet Typhoon class and the American Ohio class. It should be noted that they were originally the largest attack submarines ever built until the US Navy converted 4 Ohio boats into cruise missile carriers, which made them larger. This attack submarine is armed with 24 P-700 Granite, or as the West reports them, SSN-19 shipwreck supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles that have a range of 340 miles. The sub is also fitted with 2 650mm and 4 533mm torpedo tubes that can launch SSN-16 Stallion anti-ship missiles that have a 30-mile range, torpedoes, nuclear warheads, or nuclear depth charges for use against surface ships or submarines. The Oscar II utilizes a floating antenna buoy to receive satellite navigation signals, target data, and radio messages under the ice and at great depth. This class of submarine is powered by 2 OK-650 pressurized water nuclear reactors, which in turn power 2 steam turbines, and are the same reactors used by the Typhoon class. They are slow to dive and to maneuver, but have a submerged speed of 30 knots, which is enough to track targets. They are noisy and can be detected rather easily. The Ohio-class USA ballistic missile submarine is said to be the US military's ultimate weapon. This class of submarine is one of the quietest and stealthiest in the world. It represents America's ace in the hole, carrying 20 SLBMs with multiple, independently targeted warheads. Many megatons of nuclear firepower that quietly patrol the world's oceans, ensuring that any nuclear attack on the United States will be met with swift retaliation. A streamlined outer hull permits the ship to move quietly through the water at high speeds and was specifically designed for efficient cruising underwater. The larger hull means that the sub can hold larger weapons that have a greater range, and also includes more space for sophisticated computerized electronic equipment that gives the submarine improved weapon guidance and sonar performance. It is powered by a pressurized water reactor driving steam turbines to a single propeller shaft, and the submarine can achieve depths in excess of 800 feet at speeds of around 25 to 30 knots. The Ohio can run for 15 plus years without an overhaul, meaning that it can operate nearly silent for extended periods of time. It only needs to surface for crew changes and supplies. Japan built its own submarines, the Soryu class, through Mitsubishi Heavy Industries and Kawasaki Heavy Industries, which are both based in the port city of Kobe. The Soryu class submarines are the largest submarines built by post-war Japan and weigh 4,200 tons submerged. They measure 275 feet long and are nearly 28 feet wide. Their range is said to be 6,100 nautical miles and is reported to have a dive capability of 2,132 feet, or 2/5 of a mile. The Soryu features an X-shaped tail, which is reported to increase its maneuverability room in shallow and littoral waters. It is equipped with optronic mast and ZPS-6F surface low-level air search radar, along with the main sonar device, the Hughes Oki ZQQ7 sonar suite that incorporates a bow-mounted sonar array, 4 flank sonar arrays, and a towed array for rear acoustic detection. The sub has 6 533mm torpedo tubes mounted in the bow and are armed with Type 89 heavyweight homing torpedoes, each with a 27 nautical mile range and a max operating depth of 2,952 feet. And because of the strong American ties, the standard diameter torpedo tubes mean that the Soryu is armed with UGM-84 submarine launched harpoon missiles. Unconfirmed reports say that the submarines could carry a warshot of 30 weapons instead of the 20 weapons of previous classes, and they can also lay mines. But it is the propulsion that this class is famous for, with top speeds of 13 knots surfaced and 20 knots submerged. It is powered by 12 Kawasaki 12V25S diesel engines and a tandem Toshiba electric motor. The Akula-1 Russian submarine can be summed up in just 5 words: stealthy with lots of firepower. The Akula-1 submarines, designated Shushuka or Pike, were built to hunt US Navy submarines, and particularly ballistic missile submarines. Each Akula-1 is armed with 4 533mm torpedo tubes and for large 615mm tubes that can deploy up to 40 wire-guided torpedoes, mines, and long-range SS-15 Starfish and SS-16 Stallion anti-ship missiles. The Akula can also be armed with 12 Granat cruise missiles capable of hitting land targets 1,865 miles away. The Akula is large and displaces nearly 13,000 tons submerged. It features a steel double hull which allows it to take on more ballast water and survive more damage. It is powered by a single 190 megawatt pressurized water nuclear reactor with a high-density core. The submarine is capable of achieving speeds of 30 knots, which is about 38 miles per hour, and can operate at a depth of 1,574 feet. This 365-foot submarine can be distinguished by its aquadynamic conning tower and a teardrop-shaped pod atop the tail fin. The United Kingdom has a nuclear-powered submarine of its own called the Astute class. It is the latest class of nuclear-powered attack submarines in service with the Royal Navy and sets a new standard when it comes to weapons load, communication, and stealth capabilities. The Astute sits at 7,200 tons submerged and is fitted with 6 533mm torpedo tubes. The sub's primary weapon systems are the BAE Systems Spearfish torpedoes and Boeing Sub-Harpoon anti-ship missiles. The Astute has a capacity for a total of 36 torpedoes, and missiles and mines can be carried in place of torpedoes. The class is powered by a Rolls-Royce pressurized water reactor. When looking for the most advanced and most expensive hunter-killer submarines in the world, you'll find the United States Seawolf-class submarine at the top of the list. It is the first, completely new, American submarine design in 30 years. The USS Seawolf was designed to operate at greater depths and were designed to seek and destroy the Typhoon and attack submarines such as the Akula class. One of its most important capabilities lies in its exceptional quietness even at high tactical speeds. Most submarines need to keep their speed down to the littlest 5 knots to avoid detection by passing sonar arrays, but the Seawolf can cruise at 20 knots and be almost impossible to locate. It is fitted with 8 torpedo tubes in a double-deck torpedo room, and the attack sub can deal with multiple targets simultaneously. The Seawolf's ability to make a stealthy approach to an enemy coast is what makes the class so valuable. They can carry Tomahawk cruise missiles, which have a range of 1056 miles and can strike ships or land targets, along with a total complement of 50 Mark 48 torpedoes, Sub-Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and it can lay down up to 100 miles. Its state-of-the-art electronic systems features many types of sonar arrays, navigational radar, and a Raytheon Mark II weapons control system. The Project 885 Yasen, or Granny class, is the latest Russian nuclear-powered attack submarine. It had many improvements but was only slightly quieter than the Akula. It is fitted with 24 vertical launch tubes which can launch various cruise missiles, including the P-800 Onyx. There are also 8 650mm torpedo tubes that can launch torpedoes and anti-ship missiles. Fully armed, the 885 Yasen can carry a mix of 30 torpedoes and anti-ship missiles. The sub has a submerged weight of 8,600 tons and is 458 feet long. It is powered by a KPM-type pressurized water reactor, which makes it the first Russian submarine to use a 4th-generation nuclear reactor. This new reactor helps the Yasen achieve a surface speed of 20 knots, run silent submerged at 28 knots, and a submerged max speed of a quick 35 knots or 40 miles per hour. Its state-of-the-art design means that it can also launch the new 855 hypersonic long-range weapons, the Zircon missile. The United States Los Angeles-class submarines represent 2 generations and close to half a century of the U.S. Navy's attack submarine fleet. In fact, the Los Angeles class has more active nuclear submarines than any other class in the world. Also known as the 688 class, these subs are equipped with 12 vertical launch system or VLS tubes for firing Tomahawk cruise missiles. A Los Angeles-class nuclear submarine has a submerged displacement of 6,927 tons. It's equipped with a light water reactor built by General Electric that generates 35,000 shaft horsepower, and it has the capability of achieving 25 knots, which is around 29 miles per hour. However, its top speed is classified. The U.S. Navy said that it has a maximum operating depth of 650 feet, but others have suggested that it could be as much as 950 feet. And according to James Fighting Ships, its maximum diving depth is 1,475 feet. Along with the 12 vertical launch tubes, the Los Angeles class can carry 25 torpedo-launched weapons and Mark 67 and Mark 60 Captor mines. Tomahawk cruise missiles and Harpoon missiles can be launched horizontally from the torpedo tubes. Another U.S. Navy submarine, the Virginia class, is a nuclear-powered fast attack submarine that is the successor to the Los Angeles class. It was designed as a smaller, cheaper, and more versatile alternative to the Seawolf class. The pride of the United States Navy, this class has a newly redesigned bubble-filled mercury coating called anisotropic coating, which makes the submarine virtually undetectable by sonar. Isolated on-deck structures and a new propulsion system provide a low acoustic signature, and it can be compared to the stealthy Seawolf class. They are fitted with 12 vertical launch tubes for Tomahawk cruise missiles and also have 5 33mm torpedo tubes. but the 377-foot-long submarine with a displacement of 7,800 long tons can carry a payload of 40 weapons, special operations forces, unmanned undersea vehicles, and has an advanced SEAL delivery system. The class is powered by an SG-9 nuclear reactor, which can deliver 40,000 shaft horsepower and propel the sub to speeds greater than 25 knots, with top speed being an alleged 35 knots. The submarine was tested at depths greater than 800 feet, and it allegedly has an operating depth of 1,600 feet. That concludes our video of dangerous submarines. Let us know which one you thought was the best in the comments.